The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. and thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. Here at home in our 17 News follow-up file this morning, pain and perseverance is the story of a family fighting to pick up the pieces after a suspected DUI crash that turned their life upside down. 17's Marco Torres has the story.
The Joshan family has been in and out of the hospital. Everyone who was inside was injured during a suspected DUI crash that left a white Mercedes ablaze inside the front bedroom of the Joshan family home on Wednesday. From the 21-month-old baby boy to the grandfather who risked his life pulling the rest of his family out from certain death. Now, a grim update about the family's health. The baby facing complications, with doctors rushing to figure out how to move forward. It's not just the baby, but his mother, Rajwinder Joshan, is also having her own medical issues, now needing assistance to do most common tasks, from standing and sitting to even going to the bathroom. The damage expected to possibly be long-term.
She's constantly in a lot of pain. She's, cries herself to sleep at night. She's going to need a lot of physical therapy. Anything physical she needs help with. She's totally dependent on someone now.
The father, Prince Deep Joshan, now reported to have the same issues as his wife.
He's totally dependent on someone. He can't sit on his own. He can't stand up on his own. He needs someone there. Has a lot of pain. A lot of pain.
Prince Deep's sister, Saman Joshan, says even the baby's grandfather has his own serious health issues, but he's choosing desperately to work at their family-owned Monte Carlo bar to keep it open. The whole family is facing intense trauma and PTSD from that horrific early morning, especially the grandfather, who thinks about it every night.
He tells me, someone, I cannot sleep at night. My dad's a very strong person. He breaks down very often now, saying, I can't sleep at night. I hear the loud bang again.
This tragedy happened at the moment Madison Ann Williams' car plowed through the front of the Joshan family's home. Williams was arrested for driving while intoxicated. She blew past the stop sign and crashed into the bedroom where the family was sleeping. Following the crash, the family's life hasn't been getting any easier. People have been spotted trespassing onto their property, trying to loot what remains. Prince Deep's wallet was stolen. The thieves attempted to use all the cards, notifying Prince Deep's bank. The family is also in financial hardship. They had more than $10,000 in cash and valuables like watches, jewelry, and collector's shoes burn up in the fire. They need help, and the bartenders at the Monte Carlo bar set up a raffle with donations from local companies.
Shakes you a little bit as to such kind people having such a tragic incident happen to them. So I couldn't not do anything. At first it kind of just started with patrons offering cash, and so I started the cash donation. By the end of the second day, we've already gotten up to close to 30 raffle donations.
That was 17's Marco Torres reporting. Another way you can help the family out is by donating online to their GoFundMe campaign. You can find a link on our website, kget.com.
A deadly weekend on the road as two people were killed in Bakersfield. The first was a man hit by a car in downtown Bakersfield Saturday. It happened just before 7:30 Saturday night. An elderly man was hit by a vehicle on F Street, according to police. He was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, where police say he died early yesterday morning. The driver remained at the scene, and alcohol and drugs do not appear to be factors.
And a person was killed when hit by multiple vehicles in northwest Bakersfield. According to police, a preliminary investigation showed that person lying in the road on Olive Drive Saturday when multiple vehicles hit them. The person was pronounced dead. Multiple drivers remained at the scene, and police are still investigating why the pedestrian was in the road.
And it was a bloody weekend here in Bakersfield as we saw a pair of deadly shootings within city limits Friday night. Around 11 o'clock Friday, Bakersfield police were called to District Boulevard in southwest Bakersfield, and two people say they had been shot in the parking lot of La Mina Cantina. One of those people, identified as 43-year-old Jaron Bravo Sepulveda, died at the scene. The other was taken to the hospital. As of news time this morning, police say they are in serious condition, but they are stable. The investigation continues, and there is currently no suspect information.
Meantime, Bakersfield police are investigating after a shooting in South Bakersfield early Saturday morning. Officers were called to the corner of Cherry and H Streets. There, they found a man with a gunshot wound. He died. That victim's not been identified, and the investigation ongoing.
We're also learning more about a violent scene off Taft Highway earlier this month. What we first reported as a discovery of bodies has now been ruled an apparent murder-suicide by the county coroner's office. It happened on September 9th. Sheriff's deputies say they found 2 bodies with gunshot wounds off Taft Highway. Joanna Stephanie Munoz Tovar had been shot multiple times. Her death was ruled a homicide. And 32-year-old Edgar Tornes was found nearby with a gunshot wound in an apparent suicide. It is still unclear what the relationship between the two was. We have reached out to the sheriff's office for more information, but have not heard back. Now to coronavirus news and a major claim made by President Biden over the weekend. He says the COVID-19 pandemic is over. He said this during an interview while attending the Detroit Auto Show. Biden pointed out the lack of restrictions at the event, signaling the end of the worst times for COVID-19.
We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. But the pandemic is over. If you notice, no one's wearing masks. Everybody seems to be in pretty good shape. And so I think it's changing, and I think this is a perfect example of it.
The United States is still recording an average of more than 400 deaths every day from COVID-19. That's according to a New York Times data. And more than 1 million Americans have died from the virus since the beginning of the pandemic in early 2020. Biden also stressed the importance of still getting vaccinated, pointing out that more than 220 million Americans are currently vaccinated at least once for COVID-19.
5:34 now. Fire crews working through the rain over the weekend trying to increase containment on the mosquito fire burning up north in Placer and El Dorado counties. The latest update showing the mosquito fire has burned 76,000 acres and containment now sits at 38%. CAL FIRE says fire crews will take advantage of the rain, hoping to increase that containment. On Sunday, a large number of mosquito fire evacuees were allowed to return home as orders were downgraded to warnings.
And the Fairview fire burning in Hemet is now 98% contained. It has burned just over 28,000 acres and has destroyed at least 30 different structures. All evacuation warnings have been lifted, and CAL FIRE says it is not expected to spread as crews are mopping up damage with the fire perimeter.
Making news around the state, a man suspected of a hit and run in Auburn has died following an officer-involved shooting. The hit and run happened Saturday on the I-80. CHP and witnesses tracked the driver to a nearby shopping center. That's where officers say that man got out of his car with a knife and started moving toward an officer. The man was shot and eventually died from his injuries.
About a year and a half ago, we brought you the story of Art Williams, a local star athlete in the early 1950s who turned an injury-shortened career in minor league baseball into a historic first, playing for that third team on the baseball diamond, the umpiring crew. Art Williams of Bakersfield was the first black umpire in Major League Baseball's National League, and he made his landmark debut exactly 50 years ago yesterday. And appropriately, it has been proclaimed Art Williams Day in Bakersfield. Mayor Karen Go issued the proclamation to Williams' family early last week in the city council chambers. Art Williams' brother, Audie, who has written a book about his late brother, became emotional while accepting the proclamation. Art Williams, who umpired in the National League for 5 years, often alongside 2 other umpires with Bakersfield ties, Bob Engel and Doug Harvey, died in 1979. 17's Robert Price has a look back at Art Williams' life and his improbable journey that ended behind the dish.
In 1971, Major League Baseball had one African-American umpire, Emmett Ashford, who had worked in the American League since 1966. In 1972, starting on September 18th, it had 2. That's the day Art Williams, born in Arkansas, raised in Bakersfield, took the big step from the AAA International League to the bigs. Art Williams' brother Audie was there that night in San Diego, and he remembers glimpsing the stadium message board just as the game was about to begin.
Welcome, Art Williams.
He hadn't set out to be an umpire. He started out a hard-throwing right-handed pitcher for the minor league Bakersfield Indians, but he was handled poorly by his coaches and permanently damaged his elbow. With wife Shirley's support, he attended Major League Baseball's Umpire Academy in St. Petersburg, Florida, where 200 applicants were vying for 30 jobs. Williams got one of them and took a pay cut.
He said, well, Art Jr., tell your dad he's going to be going to the Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, and congratulations on becoming the first black umpire in the National League.
It all came to an end for Williams after the 1977 season. In late 1978, he started having headaches and seizures. It turned out he had developed a tumor on his pituitary gland. He didn't survive the brain surgery. He was just 44.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.